that the vote may not be in my favor. At the declaration level of the results, given the interest of the Right Honorable. Madam Speaker, I now want to debate on principle. First, there were two concerns about V.A.T. in the country raised by the traders. The first was the threshold, which has been dealt with in the proposal from 150 to 250. They may have other arguments. We have heard that the proposal was to go to 500. The second concern was the rate itself, because we know in some countries, including within East Africa, some V.A.T. rates are as low as 16%. So even 8, some, but I know of, at least I can speak authoritatively of ones I know, about 16%. In the processing of this bill, we had expected either the government or the committee to address us on those concerns. What is their take on the rate, which has been argued? Remember 2 years ago when the issues of the traders downtown came, one of the proposals they made was that V.A.T. has to be revised from 18 downwards. And we have not had any report regarding that matter. That would be my concern. The second concern is the justification for raising it from 150 million to 250. The committee and the minister premises their argument that in 2015 was the last time that the V.A.T. was raised. I have done simple calculations. You have not moved from 2015. Because in 2015, 150 million, if you compare to the rate, exchange rate, the dollar then, was around 3,098. And now we have about 3,700. It means for every 1 shilling of that 150 million, we now multiply by 600, which brings us to around 240. So I want to dismiss that it is not correct that you have actually improved or raised upward substantially. What you have done is just to equate the value of 150 million in 2015 to the current value, which is 250. That's why I will agree that perhaps the proposal by the minority of revising it way beyond 250 will have to suffice. The second point I would like to debate, Madam Speaker, is on the credit allowed by foreigners and Ugandan citizens under clause 4. Yes, I allow clarification.
My brother, Honorable Odur, when you propose 500 million Uganda shillings as turnover to be threshold, gives an impression that this trader is able to make a turnover of 41.5 million in a month. So the clarification I want from you is how many of these people are you envisaging, given the research or proposal, that would fall in that bracket?
Madam Speaker, if there was any strong justification I was looking for to show that the government has not done any research at all, is the submission of the chairman. This is exactly what this committee should have done. Because my argument, and I want you to get it, is that in 2015, 150 million of 2015 is exactly 250 million today. So if your argument is that you are raising the V.A.T. threshold, it should be beyond just compounding it to bring that value, that past value, into the present value. So for me, the 250 million now is not any different from the threshold in 2015. And that's why I wanted the government to explain, are you just merely upgrading or equating the 150 million? That's the point I was raising. Secondly, I was talking about the distinction between the foreigner and a citizen in as far as clause 3 is concerned, the principle itself. I've seen that you want to allow a credit, allowable credit, and you have set 10 million US dollars for foreigners and 5 million US dollars for citizens. Of course, this should worry foreigners, Ugandans who are soon might be called foreigners, but I don't want to go into that debate. But once you start coming into the law And we are seeing you as bringing these terminologies between foreigners and now a citizen. And yet we know where we are heading. It should worry those who are living outside. But my point is, 18 billion shillings is not an easy amount for a citizen living here. I find it way too high. If you wish to allow a citizen who is going to construct a hotel within those 2 years, think critically. And I can ask the same question you have asked me. How many Ugandans now who will go into the hotels? Certainly, maybe we are very few here.
Thank you.
With exception of few. The last one, Madam Speaker.
With exception of.
Yeah, the last one is for the minister to convince us why he requires power to vary the terms and conditions as proposed. Because legislation, especially something to do with taxation, I always encourage that Parliament retains its powers 100% to be able to vary, because we are the ones accountable at the end of it all. So I see that the minister wants to have power on terms and conditions of payment of tax. These ministers, Madam Speaker, let me mention, they are not very easily accessible. I've raised it in the past. And they don't have the national outlook of things. We don't want to give ministers powers to start segmenting a certain proportion of society and favoring them by issuing this instrument, and yet others are being left. Let Parliament retain that power to be able to vary it.
Thank you. But, Honorable Minister, even when we are talking of looking for money, looking for revenue, I am also not comfortable with the so many waivers that you're asking for. You're asking for so many waivers. Why? Eh? You need to reduce on the waivers, but you can still go ahead and first answer what Honorable Odur has said. No, that was a by the way.
It affects all of us. Madam Chair, at least I can reach the Minister of Finance, maybe for a waiver, but which I have not asked. It is very unfortunate that the people who are getting waivers are people who have been around and big waivers. Well, there are small boys and small businessmen out there who are suffering for lack of. Okay.
My brother and elder and senior Nandala, I want to appreciate your observation. Indeed, it has been a concern of the committee, and we have always engaged the ministry and Uganda Revenue Authority. Without legislating in anticipation, in the bills we are handling, you'll see how, as the ministry and URA, we've given a blanket of waiver from all the years to 2016. I was given, I cannot allow.
Secretary General, welcome back from the World Bank. Madam Speaker.
The Secretary General was in Washington with the minister. So it should not be said it was only the minister. They were together.
Madam Speaker, the information I'm giving the House is that we imported, your school imported sports equipment. And you had to write letters, you had to call Matia Kasaja. Minister of Finance refused to give a waiver to bouquet their comprehensive school for sports equipment. Why is that others get waivers easily if Madam Speaker cannot get a waiver? What do those people do behind the scene to get waiver?
Chair, Madam Speaker, what I was raising, you must have understood.
That's okay.
What we want to put
can we
across.
Proceed?
Yes, Madam
Honorable members, I put a question that the Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2026 be read for the second time. Those in favor say and the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Value Added Tax Amendment Bill 2026, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
Clause 1. No amendment. Chair, no amendment. This side, no amendment. I told you I will allow you to. I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Clause 2. Chair, no amendment. I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the.
Madam Chair, clause 2 on phrase. I want to move an amendment that petrol stations are exempt from IFRIS. The justification: if you go to a petrol station, a motorbike person has come, he will take a liter. He pays 3,000 or 5,000. And the pumps which are there cannot issue an IFRIS. And if you tried to do it, then you will maybe combine at the end of the day and issue an IFRIS, maybe in the name of a pumper tenant. A pumper tenant will be looked for by URA that he has been trading in fuel. This is because even fuel is exempt from V.A.T, by the way. The only thing which is there is income tax, which is total at the end of the year. And also, there's already tax on every liter of what? Of fuel. Because as soon as you sell, the tax is paid there and then. And so, Mr. Minister, I want to ask your indulgence.
In petrol stations, can we look at the holistic transaction of the petrol stations? Because now the Honorable Nandala is talking about only the motorcycles, but you find in some petrol stations like Mandela's place, they have Javas, they have what? You get it? We have wheel balancing, wheel alignment. We are discussing. What do you think?
Madam Chairperson, I think we need to thoroughly understand this issue. From what I know, petrol stations are automatically connected to IFRIS. If you are City Oil, you are Shell, you automatically in the system. And also, from what I know, if you buy fuel, you are given a receipt. For me, when I put a fuel card, when I put a fuel card, they give me a what? A receipt. My driver shows me a receipt. Yes. And also, I know that even if I am to personally, not a minister now, buy fuel and I want a receipt, I can be given. So the question here is, because Honorable Mafab is saying it is difficult for border riders to account for IFRIS. Is that what you are saying? What are you saying? Because we need to understand this properly before we make a decision. Yes.